Every summer, the same thing happens. The bass you were catching in May vanish. You go back to the same spots, throw the same baits, and get nothing. So you fish deeper, because everyone says summer bass go deep, and it gets worse, not better. Here's the fix, and it's going to sound backwards. In summer, deeper is often where the bass can't go. Stop fishing by depth and start fishing by oxygen. There's a specific band of water in your lake right now where every bass is stacked up, and it's usually not as deep as you think. That's the answer. Now here's why it works. Because once you understand what's happening under the surface, you'll find that band on any lake in about 5 minutes. Start with what most anglers believe. The story we all learned is simple. Summer sun heats the surface. Bass don't like hot water, so they go deep to stay cool. Fish deep, catch fish. That's half right, and the missing half is why your summer fishing falls apart. Because something happens to a lake in summer that nobody sees from the bank. It's called stratification, and once you understand it, summer bass stop being mysterious. When the surface heats up, warm water gets lighter, so it floats on top of the cold water underneath. By midsummer, your lake has separated into 3 distinct layers that basically stop mixing with each other. Up top, the warm layer you fish. Down deep, a cold, heavy layer sitting on the bottom. And between them, a thin zone where the temperature drops off a cliff. That's the thermocline. Now here's the part that changes everything. That deep, cold layer sounds perfect for a bass trying to beat the heat. Cool, calm, quiet. But there's a problem you can't see. That bottom layer is sealed off. The thermocline acts like a lid, and no new oxygen gets down there. Nothing mixes it. Meanwhile, everything living and dying and decaying in that deep water keeps using up oxygen, all summer long, with nothing replacing it. So by July and August, in a lot of lakes, that deep water is essentially dead. Not low on oxygen, functionally out of it. And a bass cannot live there. This is the single fact that unlocks summer fishing, so let me make it concrete. Warm water fish like bass need roughly 5 milligrams of oxygen per liter of water to behave normally. That number comes straight out of the fisheries research. It's not a guess. Below about 3, they're stressed and they leave. Below 2, most fish simply can't survive there for long. By late summer, the water below the thermocline in a stratified lake is often sitting near 0. So think about what that means for the fish. You've got a warm surface layer that's uncomfortable but livable. You've got a deep layer that's the right temperature but has no oxygen. A beautiful cool room with no air in it. And you've got that thermocline in between. The bass gets squeezed. Squeezed out of the deep water by oxygen, pushed down out of the hottest surface water by temperature, and compressed into a narrow band in the middle, right around the thermocline. On a lake that's 50 feet deep, the fish might be living in a 10 or 15-foot window, and everything below it is empty. This is why fishing deeper makes it worse. When you drop your bait down to 40 feet looking for the coolest water, you're fishing in the dead zone. There's no bass down there because there's no oxygen down there. You're not fishing below the fish, you're fishing below the entire livable lake. Now the reframe that makes you better than everyone at the ramp complaining about the summer slump. In summer, you're not looking for a temperature. You're looking for a ceiling and a floor, and the fish are pinned between them. The floor is the thermocline. Bass won't go below it. The ceiling is however deep the hot, bright surface water pushes them down. Find the gap between those two, and you've found where every bass in the lake is forced to live. It's not a big area. That's actually good news. It means the fish are concentrated, not scattered. Summer bass aren't hard to catch because they're spread out. They're hard to catch because everybody's fishing the wrong 20 feet. So how do you actually find that band? 3 ways. Easiest first. 1. Read your electronics. When a lake is strongly stratified, the thermocline itself shows up on your sonar. A fuzzy horizontal line across the screen at a consistent depth, sometimes with a haze of suspended particles and bait sitting right on top of it. That line is the floor. Anything holding just above it is what you're after. If you see bait and arcs stacked at 18 feet and nothing below 22, the thermocline just told you exactly where to fish. 2. Let the bait fish tell you. Bait can't survive in the dead zone either, so shad and other forage get pinned into the exact same oxygen band as the bass. Find the bait in summer, and you've found the depth. The predators are living right on top of their groceries because neither one has anywhere else to go. 3. If you want to be certain, a cheap dissolved oxygen meter will show you the band directly. Most anglers will never do this, which is exactly why knowing it exists is an edge. You lower the probe, watch the oxygen numbers, and the depth where it falls off a cliff is the bottom of the strike zone. You don't have to guess at all. Now, when does this not apply? Because it doesn't always, and knowing the exceptions is worth as much as the rule. Shallow lakes, ponds, and rivers often don't stratify at all. Moving water and wind keep them mixed, oxygen stays even top to bottom, and the fish aren't compressed into a band. If you fish water like that, this whole problem mostly isn't yours. Your summer bass are positioned by cover and forage, not by an oxygen ceiling. And highly fertile, weedy lakes can flip the script during the day. Heavy plant growth in the shallows can pump so much oxygen into skinny water through photosynthesis that bass sit shallow and comfortable right through the heat, especially anywhere with green vegetation and a little current. Green weeds make oxygen. Dying brown weeds consume it. That difference tells you which shallow cover is holding fish and which is empty. But on a typical lake in July, clear enough to stratify, deep enough to have a dead zone, the rule holds. The bass are stacked in a band. The band is shallower than the deepest water, and the guys fishing 40 feet down are fishing in a part of the lake that, for 2 months, might as well not exist. So the next time August rolls around and the bite falls apart and everyone's saying the bass have lockjaw, remember what's actually happening. They didn't stop feeding. They got compressed into a narrow strip of livable water. And if you're not fishing that strip, you're not fishing where the bass can physically be. It was never about temperature. It was about oxygen the whole time. Tell me in the comments, how deep is the thermocline on your home lake right now? If you don't know yet, this weekend's the time to go find it.